All right, so you've probably been hearing all this buzz lately about Banyan Gold.
Yeah,
They've been
they're
everywhere.
having it hit.
You know, at these investment conferences
Oh, yeah.
from New Orleans to Vancouver,
Mm-hmm.
and the press has been all over them too,
Yeah, you see them everywhere.
praising them up and down. And I bet you're intrigued, right?
Absolutely.
Especially with that talk going around that they're seriously undervalued.
Yeah.
Now you're probably thinking,
Hmm.
is this the kind of stock I could put like $500 into
Right.
and just watch it grow over the next 10 years?
Yeah, that's the big question everyone's asking.
Right.
It's a fascinating case.
Yeah,
You know, you've got this company that's doing a phenomenal job of telling their story,
they are.
but the market hasn't quite caught up to their potential yet.
That's what makes this deep dive so interesting.
Yeah.
Can Banyan Gold really live up to all this hype?
That's what we're here to find out.
Exactly.
Right.
So let's just break it down.
Okay.
Who is Banyan Gold? What makes them stand out from everyone else in this whole gold mining world?
Mm-hmm.
And the most important thing, is this a company that really deserves to be in your portfolio
Right.
for the long haul?
For the long haul.
10 years.
10 years, exactly. So let's start with the basics.
Okay.
Banyan Gold is what's called a junior mining company.
Mm-hmm.
They're focused on finding and developing these gold projects
Yeah.
up in the Yukon Territory in Canada.
Okay.
And their main project, the one that everyone's talking about, is called the Ormac property.
Okay.
And it's pretty impressive.
What's so special about it?
Well, they've got this massive amount of gold. They're a resource. We're talking 7 million ounces.
7 million ounces.
7 million ounces of gold.
Whoa, that's not just a little bit.
No. That's a serious stash of gold.
That's a big pile of gold.
It is. It makes them the 7th largest undeveloped gold project in all of North America.
Wow.
Just by that fact alone, they're already on the map.
Just for the sheer size of it.
Just for the sheer size, but there's more to it than just size.
Okay. I'm all ears.
Yeah.
What else makes Banyan so special?
Location.
Yeah. Real estate.
It's all about location.
Oh.
And Ormac, it's in a really strategic spot right next to existing mines and all this infrastructure they've already got there.
Oh, wow.
We're talking roads, power lines, even cell service.
Oh, so they don't have to build all that from scratch.
Exactly. This is huge for a junior mining company. You know, they don't have to spend a fortune just to get things going.
That's a really smart move.
It is, especially in a business like mining where it's already so risky.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So they're already cutting costs right out of the gate.
Right from the start. Now, this is where things get interesting.
Okay.
Despite all of this, Banyan is still considered undervalued by a lot of the analysts. I've seen reports that say they were trading at a crazy low $5 to $10 per ounce of gold.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Especially compared to what you were saying their peers are at.
Yeah, exactly. We're talking $50 to $100 an ounce for those guys.
That's a huge gap. What are investors missing here?
Yeah, why isn't the market seeing their value? Well, there are a couple things happening. One is that overhang situation we talked about earlier.
Right.
Remember, a big chunk of Banyan shares are being held by a receiver.
Okay.
This can make some investors a little skittish
I bet.
because it makes the future of share sales kind of uncertain.
Yeah, it's like this shadow hanging over the stock,
Yeah, you could say that.
even though the company itself seems to be doing great.
Yeah, they are doing well.
So it's not really a red flag. It's more like we're just waiting to see what happens.
Exactly. It's a waiting game.
Mhm.
Now, let's shift gears and talk about the company itself.
Okay.
They're not just sitting on this gold, they're actively exploring and developing Ormac.
Right.
And this is where we start seeing the real potential for the stock price to go way up.
You're talking about catalysts, right?
Yes, exactly. Those things that can really make a stock take off.
Yeah.
And Banyan has a whole bunch of them coming up.
Yeah.
Well, for starters, they're expecting drill results pretty soon.
Ooh.
Those could reveal even more gold.
Wow.
Then there's a resource update scheduled for the second quarter of 2025 that could bump up the size of the resource.
Yeah.
And make everyone more confident about how much gold is really there. And maybe the most important catalyst of all.
The PEA.
Yes.
Yeah.
The preliminary economic assessment.
By the end of 2025.
Exactly.
That's the big one everyone's waiting for, right?
It is. The PEA is going to give us this detailed analysis of how profitable this project could actually be.
Right.
It'll tell investors whether Ormac can really be developed and make money.
And if it's positive.
Oh, if it's positive, the share price could go through the roof.
Okay, so we've got the resources, the location, these exciting catalysts.
Right?
But what about the people running Banyan?
Yeah.
Are they the right team to make this all happen?
This is actually one of Banyan's strongest points. Their management team is full of these industry veterans,
Oh, wow.
people who have a proven track record of success.
So they know what they're
I
doing.
know mining, and what's even better is they've got skin in the game.
That's always a good sign.
It shows they believe in their own company.
Yeah, they're putting their money where their mouth is.
Exactly. Take the CEO, for example. She owns 4% of the company.
Wow.
That's like a $2 million personal investment.
$2 million of her own money in Banyan. That says a lot.
It does. And here's another interesting thing.
No.
Banyan is doing something pretty unusual for a junior mining company.
What's that?
They're actually making money right now.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Before the mine is even built?
Yep. Through property rentals and services.
So they have other things going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a smart strategy. It gives them this financial cushion and helps cover their costs.
That's really smart.
It is. It means they don't always have to go back to the market to raise money,
Right.
which can sometimes hurt shareholder value.
That's impressive.
Okay, so we've got a company with a massive gold resource in a prime location.
A strong management team that's invested in the company themselves.
Mm-hmm.
These exciting catalysts coming up, and they're already bringing in some cash.
Yep,
It sounds like Banyan has a lot going for it.
they do. But to really understand their potential, we need to zoom out a bit.
Okay.
Look at the bigger picture.
Right.
What's happening in the Yukon, and how does Banyan fit into all of that?
Let's broaden our horizons then.
Mm.
What's the Yukon gold scene looking like these days?
Well, some people are calling it Yukon Gold Rush 2.0.
Oh, wow.
There's a ton of exploration going on up there, and Banyan is right in the middle of it all.
So the Yukon is becoming a hotspot for gold.
Absolutely. And there's another layer to this.
Okay.
Some experts think that the whole Yukon gold scene is undervalued right now
Why is that?
because of that incident that happened at a nearby mine.
You're talking about the Eagle Mine, right?
Yeah, the one run by Victoria Gold.
Yeah, that definitely shook things up.
It did. It made some investors nervous. But a lot of people think the Yukon is going to bounce back. And if it does, Banyan could ride that wave all the way up.
So it's not just about Banyan itself.
Yeah.
It's about the whole Yukon gold scene potentially taking off.
Exactly. And that makes Banyan's position even more interesting.
It sounds like they're in the right place at the right time.
It does. Now that brings us back to your original question.
Yeah.
Is Banyan a good place to park $500 for 10 years?
The million-dollar question.
It's a tough one.
Right.
And we still have a lot to unpack, but
Yeah.
I think we're starting to see why so many people are excited about this company.
Absolutely. We've covered a lot already,
We have.
but there's still so much more to explore.
There is. And in the next part of our deep dive, we're going to delve into one of the most fascinating parts of Banyan's story,
Okay, I'm ready.
this intriguing connection between gold and, wait for it,
I'm waiting.
antimony.
Antimony. Now that's a twist I didn't see coming.
It's an unexpected connection,
Yep.
but it could be a really valuable one.
Stay tuned, folks.
Yeah.
Things are about to get really interesting.
Really interesting.
Okay, so we've talked about all the good stuff about Banyan Gold,
Mm-hmm.
the resources, the location, the management, the catalysts.
Right.
But before we get too excited,
Yeah.
we got to talk about the elephant in the room.
The risks.
Risk.
Yeah.
Junior mining companies are inherently risky, aren't they?
Absolutely. Investing in junior mining is not for the faint of heart.
No.
There are always risks to think about.
Yeah.
Permitting delays, exploration uncertainty,
Yeah.
fluctuations in the price of gold.
All those things.
Yeah.
So how does Banyan stack up in terms of risk?
Right.
Are there any red flags we should be watching out for?
Well, we already mentioned that overhang situation
Right.
with the receiver holding all those shares.
Yeah.
That's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Mm-hmm.
But like we said, the Yukon government seems to be on top of it.
Yeah, they're trying to make sure things go smoothly
Exactly.
and prevent those shares from being dumped all at once.
Right. They're not going to let a fire sale happen. But beyond that, Banyan faces the same risks as any other junior miner
Right.
exploration. It can be unpredictable.
Yeah.
Permitting can take forever.
Oh.
And commodity prices can be all over the place.
That's lawful.
Exactly.
So you really have to do your research,
Absolutely.
understand the company's plan,
Mm-hmm.
and be prepared for those ups and downs.
Yeah, it's part of the game.
Yeah.
But here's what I find really interesting about Banyan.
Yeah.
They're not just exploring any ordinary gold deposit.
Okay.
This is what's called a reduced intrusion-related gold system.
Okay.
And these have the potential to be absolutely massive.
Okay, you've piqued my interest.
Yeah.
What is a reduced intrusion-related gold system,
Yeah.
and why is it so special?
So picture this.
Yeah.
Millions of years ago, this giant blob of molten rock,
Magma.
yeah, magma, it forced its way up through the Earth's crust.
Wow.
And as this magma cools down and solidifies, it releases these hot fluids.
Oh.
And these fluids are loaded with gold and other metals.
Oh, wow.
And these fluids, they interact with the rocks around them and deposit the gold in veins and other structures.
So the intrusion itself is like the source of the gold,
Exactly.
and the surrounding rocks are where the gold ends up.
You got it.
Okay.
Now, here's the fascinating part about Banyan's project.
Yeah.
They found tons of gold in the rocks around the intrusion, but they haven't actually found the intrusion itself yet.
Hold on. So they're finding all this gold without even hitting the mother lode.
That's right.
Wow.
Imagine what happens if they actually find it.
Yeah. Imagine the potential.
That's what makes this so exciting.
Wow.
The type of gold they're finding suggests that this intrusion could be huge
Okay.
and incredibly rich in gold.
So they could be sitting on way more than 7 million ounces.
It's a real possibility.
Wow. That's incredible.
This is why I think Banyan could be a game changer
Yeah.
in the junior mining world.
So they're not just looking for a needle in a haystack.
No?
They could be standing on top of a gold mine without even knowing it.
You could see that.
But let's play devil's advocate for a minute.
Okay.
What if they never find that intrusion?
Right.
Would that mean the deposit isn't as big or as high grade as they thought?
That's a fair question.
Yeah.
But here's where things get even more interesting.
Okay.
Even if they never find that intrusion, they could still have a really valuable deposit.
Wait, I'm not sure I understand.
Yeah.
How could they have a valuable deposit without finding the main source of the gold?
Okay, so the gold they've already found.
The 7 million ounces?
Yeah, that's all in what geologists call the aureole.
The aureole.
It's the zone of altered rock around the intrusion.
Okay.
Now, what if that aureole is just massive?
Okay.
What if it stretches out for kilometers in every direction,
Or
hosting millions and millions of ounces of gold,
yeah.
all without ever even touching the intrusion itself?
That's mind-blowing.
Right.
So the intrusion could be miles away,
It could be.
or even deeper than they could actually drill.
Exactly. It's a good reminder that in geology, and especially in mining, you never really know what's hiding beneath the surface.
Yeah. There are always surprises.
Oh!
Yeah, I love how this deep dive is uncovering all these layers of complexity. We started with a simple question about Banyan's potential.
Right.
And now we're talking about these fascinating geological concepts
Yeah.
that could have a huge impact on their future.
It's all connected. And it highlights why it's so important to look beyond just the headlines
Yeah,
and really do your own research.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So to sum it all up, we've got a company with a massive gold resource.
Right.
Strong management, upcoming catalysts. And they're exploring this unique geological system
Yes.
that could have way more gold than they've already found.
It's exciting.
But of course, there are risks,
Always.
like with any junior mining company.
Right.
So are you ready for another twist in the Banyan Gold saga?
Oh, there's more.
There's always more.
Remember how we were saying that Banyan stands out from the crowd? Well, they've got another really interesting aspect to their story.
Okay, I'm all ears. What is it?
It has to do with this metal that's becoming more and more important in our tech-driven world.
Okay, tell me more.
Antimony.
Antimony.
Yeah.
That's not exactly a household name like gold, is it?
No, it's not, but it's becoming increasingly critical.
Okay.
It's used in all sorts of things. Batteries, flame retardants,
Oh, wow.
semiconductors, solar panels.
So what does antimony have to do with Banyan Gold?
Well, here's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Banyan has found significant amounts of antimony
Really?
alongside the gold at Ormac.
Wait, are you saying they could be sitting on a valuable antimony deposit
It's possible.
on top of the gold?
It's a question they're actively trying to answer.
Wow.
They've been doing these tests to see how easy it is to extract the antimony from the ore,
Okay.
and the early results look pretty promising.
So they could be a 2-for-1 deal.
It's possible.
A gold and antimony producer.
It's exciting, right?
That's incredible.
And this comes at a time when antimony is becoming more and more important. It's actually been labeled a critical mineral by a lot of governments.
Critical mineral. What does that mean?
It means that it's essential for a lot of key industries,
Okay.
but the supply could be disrupted.
So the demand is going up,
Right.
and the supply might not be reliable.
Exactly.
That sounds like it could lead to
higher prices.
higher prices.
Yeah, quite possibly. And that's where Banyan could really benefit. If they can show that they have a viable antimony resource
Yeah.
that can be produced responsibly and sustainably,
Right.
they could be in a great position to take advantage of that growing demand.
It's like they found this treasure chest.
Yeah.
And it's not just filled with gold, but with antimony, too.
That's a great way to put it.
Who knew that digging for gold in the Yukon could lead to this potential stake in the future of critical minerals?
It's a reminder that mining can be full of surprises.
Yeah.
And for investors who do their research and think outside the box,
Yeah.
there's some amazing opportunities out there.
I love these deep dives.
Me too.
We're peeling back the layers of Banyan Gold's story.
Right.
And with each layer, the story just gets more complex and more interesting.
It does. And we're not finished yet. There's one more piece of the puzzle to explore.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat. What else is there?
Let's talk about Banyan's approach to community engagement and environmental stewardship.
All right.
In the last part of our deep dive, we'll look at how their commitment to responsible mining could really set them apart in the years to come.
I can't wait to hear more. This is shaping up to be one of our most fascinating deep dives yet.
It really is.
Okay, so we've gone through Banyan Gold's gold and antimony resources,
Right.
their management team, and all those exciting catalysts they have lined up. But there's one more thing we need to look at.
Their approach to responsible mining.
Yeah, exactly. In this day and age, it's not enough for a mining company to just dig stuff up and sell it.
Right.
Investors want to know about a company's impact on the environment and on society. So how does Banyan measure up in those areas?
This is where Banyan really shines. They're committed to responsible mining.
Okay.
And they're not just talking about it. They're actually doing it.
Okay, I like specifics. What are they actually doing that makes them different?
Well, first off, they've really focused on building those relationships with the First Nations communities.
That's so important in the Yukon.
It is.
With all the land claims and traditional territories.
Yeah, it's a big part of mining development up there.
Yeah.
Banyan has signed these agreements.
Impact benefit agreements?
Yeah, with several First Nations groups to make sure their operations actually benefit those communities and that they minimize any negative impacts.
So it's not just about taking the resources.
Yeah.
It's about sharing the benefits.
Exactly. And they're going above and beyond, you know.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just the usual consultations and impact assessments. They're really involving the First Nations communities.
Okay, in the planning and development of their projects.
That's really impressive.
It is.
It shows real commitment to working together.
Yeah.
And respect for Indigenous rights.
Absolutely. And it's not just about the community.
Yeah.
Banyan is also focused on minimizing their environmental footprint.
What are they doing to make that happen?
Well, they've got a bunch of things in place to reduce water consumption, minimize waste, and protect wildlife habitat.
Good.
And they're even looking into using renewable energy to power their operations.
So they're really trying to be sustainable.
They are.
Yeah.
And they're open about it, too.
What do you mean?
They publish these sustainability reports all about their environmental and social performance.
That's great. It shows they're accountable.
It does.
And that they're serious about their responsibilities.
Exactly. Now, you might be wondering why we're spending so much time on this.
Well, it's obviously important ethically.
Right.
But does it really affect a company's bottom line? Oh, it absolutely can. These days, investors are really paying attention to ESG factors.
ESG.
Yeah, environmental, social, and governance. They're factoring those into their decisions.
So companies that do well on ESG are more attractive to investors.
Exactly. And that can lead to a higher share price, better access to capital, and less risk.
So Banyan's commitment to responsible mining could actually give them a competitive advantage.
That's what it looks like. It's a smart move for their business. And it's in line with the growing demand for ethical and sustainable investments.
This has been a really eye-opening deep dive.
Yeah, it has.
We've covered Banyan Gold from every angle.
We've looked at everything.
Their resources, their management, their commitment to responsible mining. So what's the final verdict?
Right.
Is Banyan a good place to put $500 for 10 years?
Well, you know, I can't give financial advice.
Of course.
But I can say this. Banyan Gold is a really interesting company.
Yeah.
They've got a unique story, and they have a lot going for them. They're operating in a place that's poised for growth. They've got a strong management team that's invested in the company.
Right.
They have those exciting catalysts coming up.
Yeah.
And they're committed to doing things the right way.
Responsibly.
Responsibly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But like with any investment, there are risks.
Of course, junior mining is always risky, and Banyan is no different.
Right.
There's no guarantee that their exploration will pan out.
Yeah.
Or that they'll get all the permits they need.
Right.
Or that the price of gold and antimony will stay strong.
And we can't forget about that overhang situation.
Yeah. Those shares held by the receiver are still a big question mark.
They are. But here's what I find most interesting about Banyan.
Okay.
They're not just crossing their fingers and hoping for the best.
No.
They're actively managing the risks.
Right.
They're diversifying their portfolio
Mm-hmm.
and building a really solid foundation.
They're thinking long term.
Yeah.
It's a good sign.
So it sounds like Banyan could be a real winner.
They could be.
But it's important to go in with your eyes open,
Absolutely.
understanding both the potential rewards and the risks involved.
That's key to any good investment.
This deep dive has given you the information you need
Hopefully.
to make an informed decision.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's up to you to weigh the evidence,
Right.
think about your own investment goals and how much risk you're comfortable with,
Mm-hmm.
and then decide if Banyan Gold deserves a spot in your portfolio.
It's a personal decision.
It is. And remember, this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
Don't stop here.
Right.
Keep learning, keep exploring, and keep asking those questions.
There's always more to learn.
The world of investing is full of amazing opportunities.
It is.
And who knows, you might just uncover your own golden opportunity.
Happy investing.